Okay, well, this is a week on from opening the tapes, the great excitement when the tapes arrived here in Nashville that Bob had nicely packaged up and sent across. And for the last week we've been working on restoring a 35-year-old MCI machine, which we did a lot of recording on back in the late 70s and early 80s with a lot of the Quo projects. And as I mentioned the other day when we were looking at the tapes, things were looking pretty good. They're in reasonable shape, but we don't really know how the oxide is held up on the inner, going into the inner parts of the reel and the beginnings of the reel. So we're going to go through the process of baking the tape, and then that will ensure that when we put them on the machine, that we should be hopefully in a position where we have a minimum amount of shedding of the oxide. Over time, what has occurred is the actual glue that held the oxide to the backing of the tape started to take moisture in. When the moisture came in, then it loosened its adhesive qualities, and putting them on a machine after a long period of time in storage, the oxide could come off on the heads, glue up the heads and stop the tape. So we don't really want to even go into risking that. So there's a process called baking, and there's several ways that can be done. In a commercial grade oven where you can get the thermostat to run at in the 130, 140 degree range, they can be baked in a convection style oven. But in most domestic ovens, unfortunately, the thermostats fall out of that range and they don't start until about 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Now there's a couple of other ways of doing it. Various people have put together and done this successfully with a hairdryer built into a box. But what we're going to do today is to use a food dehydrator, commonly used for making beef jerky or drying fruit out. And that has a thermostatic control that ranges from 85 to 150. And we're going to go through a process that's going to take several hours, so I'm not going to document all of that, but it will probably be about 8 hours in total that we'll bake the tapes, as it were, in this dehydrator, which will be set to run at 135 degrees. Now, as a safeguard, to ensure that if anything should go wrong as a failsafe on regarding the temperature, I've installed a little probe inside of the tray here with a digital thermometer, and this digital thermometer is set at 140 degrees for it to send off an alarm. So we've calibrated the thermostat on the dehydrator to run at 135, but if for any reason that should break, then there's an alarm built into this digital thermometer which will alert me, and then I'll be able to stop the process. It's unlikely that would happen, but it's just an extra safeguard. So now we're going to put the very first reel, Rockin all over the world, of the 4 that we have to do. And this process is going to take about a day to do each reel, and then we'll let them cool overnight, and then each day afterwards we'll start and do the process. So I'm putting this in to the base of the dehydrator now, and I've adapted these cores to which were actually originally supplied as a complete mesh, and what I did is cut out the inner section of it so that the collar will go securely over the tape, and then we can form this chamber system. It's just basically hot air that's forced in, and it goes down and filters in through the sides of the reel. As I said, I've already calibrated this and set this up to run at 135 degrees. So this is going to be the beginning of the 8-hour process now, and you can hear the fan start up now. So this is kind of a special moment really, that after 34 years the tapes are now going to be baked. And so, well, there's the boys, Status and Joe, barking away. Alright, well that's it.